Hello, everybody, and welcome to This AFC South Show here on Curtis's Podcast Network, episode 159. My name is Curtis. I'm the host of the channel and the host of That Real Texas Team podcast. Check out anything Texans related over there. With me, as always, our resident Jaguars fan, the Glitter Kitty Conquistador himself, Duval's finest, Isaiah.
Hello.
Yes.
Much like last week. Next person.
You can find him as well as his Jaguars compatriots over on Third and Teal.
That you
Down
can.
here, your bottom right, we got Jeff Steckel, aka Big Steck. Catch him on X. He's trying to grow his audience over there as well. Check him out on Unstabled. He, Alex, and Justin hold it down over there, talking everything Colts and fantasy. Jeff, what's up, man?
Oh, we're busy. They're busy guys. I just popped out a solo episode last night, and it was a good episode. We won, so it was a happy episode. Obviously, there's some things to clean up. I talked about that, but yeah, it was.
Jeff was getting happy by himself.
Yeah, so head on over there, like, share, subscribe to it, and we appreciate it.
Damn straight. And down at your bottom left, we've got our resident Titans fan, Austin, the disgruntled Titans fan.
Yeah. I removed that title because, I don't know, I'm just trying to correct the vibes, but it's hard to do when your QB gets sacked 8 times. But over on Titans Takeaway, we do talk everything Titans. We talk about the bright spots, what little there are. We talk about the future, and of course, we reviewed the game already. Go over and check that out. It's a good episode with Curtis filling in for us. Curtis, it was nice having you there. And then Brian and myself. So go on over, visit us. There is plenty to talk about on the Titans podcast, that's for sure.
Damn straight. Go ahead and hit the like and subscribe button here. We're trying to grow the channel. We're currently sitting at 508 subscribers, and I'd like to hit a lofty like goal. It is a reaction after all. 50 likes, 50. Let's get 50 likes. Let's make that happen, folks. It's pretty possible. The last several reactions have averaged at least 1,000 views. 50 likes. I'm not a mathematician or nothing, but that's like what, like 20%, like 10%, 5%. I don't know.
It's a number.
It is a number. I'm about to do some Scott Steiner math right now. I can see it. Regardless, hit the like, subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future content, and let's get on with the suffering. Injuries before we get into individual games. Who are we likely to not see because of the injury last week? This week,
everyone.
seems a bug's going around in the league. On the Titan side, Jeffrey Simmons hurt his elbow in that game. He's questionable. Nothing season ending. And then Awuzie, one of our starting corners that we paid big bucks to come in, he is out. He's already been ruled out for the next game. He's got a groin issue going there. That's the two that the Titans are going to really miss for a couple of weeks there. But that's on my end there. All to report. Other teams have it much worse for sure.
Yeah, fair. Jeff, injuries in Indianapolis?
Yeah, ain't pretty. Obviously, DeForest Buckner went on injured reserve. He's going to miss at least a few more weeks. I believe this is the first game he missed since going on. Kwity Paye also went down. It was a quadriceps injury. Apparently, he was not able to walk without help. So, it was a strength at D-line, and now they're beaten up. I'm actually surprised Latu played. He went in with a hip injury. I didn't think he was going to go, to be honest, but he did. So, I'm happy about that. And then our secondary is already decimated. Both Kenny Moore and Dallas Flowers got hurt, and they're questionable. So hopefully they'll be, at least one of the two, Kenny Moore preferably, will be able to go, but hopefully both of them.
I need DeForest Buckner to be injured for about 3 more weeks, at least 4 preferably there. But we play you guys soon, and I don't need him sacking my QB 100 times.
He has to be out for at least 3 more weeks. So you might be safe.
Yeah.
So we're in the clear. He's only going to get sacked 4 times now instead. Excellent.
I wouldn't say that. Maybe 6.
Yeah, that offensive line is pretty atrocious.
we,
At least the
It's
right
awful, dude. Just really
Yeah,
miserable.
we lost Anton Harrison. I don't know how serious his injury is. I don't know if they've released anything on it yet. Haven't really cared to look. Foye Oluokun saw it on Instagram. He is out the next several weeks, is the quote, with plantar fasciitis in his foot that he left the game with. Trying to think. Doug Peterson is injured with his pride. Jaguars fans are injured in their pocketbooks for supporting this team for another year. Just a lot going on in Jacksonville. So hopefully we can beat someone this year, maybe. But it's not looking great.
Yeah. There were a couple injuries for Houston. Stroud did not finish the game, and he didn't finish the game not because the game got out of hand, but he got hit a few too many times, maybe for D'Amico's liking, and he was limping off the field. I don't know the severity of it, but obviously things look a lot different if Seven's not out there for the Texans at QB. But
Please, God, we need it.
The South is back up for grabs, is what I'm hearing.
well, Davis Mills is still better than Will Levis, so
It's sad
anyway.
but true.
regardless, there's a
You know who's also better than Will Levis? Malik the Cannon Willis.
I was going to say,
Oh,
maybe
here we
go.
Here we go.
I'm sorry. I'll say that for later.
6.5 minutes.
There were a couple other players that I literally cannot find anywhere now about like what other injuries happened, but there were a couple other players that I remember getting hurt. Don't know the severity. Tank Dell being one of them. He got hurt late in the game. And last year when he was unavailable, the offense definitely got a little less dynamic. So hopefully he's out there mixing it up.
I heard Tank Dell loves bugs.
Loves bugs.
Yeah. You know what his favorite bug is?
The injury bug.
The injury bug.
I'm a dad. I got that one coming.
I'm glad.
Well, look, you're eager to talk. The Jags had inarguably the worst.
Not about that. I'm not.
Week. Let's talk about Monday Night Football in Buffalo.
I'm not even sure that really happened. Pretty sure this is a simulation. Yeah, it's a bad week. We sucked. Not saying the refs lost us the game, but they sure didn't help with some of the calls out there and non-calls. But honestly, we just got the shit kicked out of us, and there's not really much more to say besides that. Brian Thomas Jr. had a little bit of a struggle out there. He dropped 2 passes, but had 48 yards on 4 or 5 catches after that. There were a couple bright spots, but not many to talk about. We got like no pressure on Josh Allen. He had all the time in the world back there, and that was just really annoying to see. That's definitely not how you beat them. You definitely can't beat them by letting him sit back there and just get people open and give them enough time to get open. Our secondary missing Savage and Campbell again this week. It was tough. It's going to be tough, if we miss Savage again next week, considering Jarian Jones got hurt, his backup. We had dudes out there playing that were elevated off the practice squad, shouldn't have been playing in the Monday Night Football against the Bills. The worst part to me is that we let DeMar Hamlin get an interception. Really revived his career anyways. I just think that it was a bad night for us, definitely. I think the Bills had a great night. They executed. They played really well. I guess silver lining, James Cook had an okay day. Like, he didn't really do great on the ground, but he did decent receiving. Devin Lloyd looked all right. Other players played. Yeah, it was a rough night.
Yeah, from what I got to watch of it, it was not looking good by the time I walked away. I think I stopped watching most of the game. I think I still caught a couple plays here and there after this point, but basically after the first quarter, I was not watching the game. So 34-3 at halftime, or yeah. 37?
There was an amount of points to an amount of points. We don't need to get into the specifics.
34-3.
Yeah. If I'm not mistaken, during the broadcast, they actually said that was the worst halftime deficit in Jaguars history.
Mm-hmm. And the 6th worst loss in our history.
Mm.
Damn.
Wait,
At least it wasn't the first.
There were 5 worse losses than that.
Jeff, do you not realize that 2012 to 2017 existed?
Fair. Fair enough.
We had to go through prime Manning and prime Luck. Like,
fair enough.
Yeah. Okay, guys, what are your thoughts on that Jacksonville game?
I mean, I did say the Bills would win, and I didn't think it would be a 37-point blowout. I really thought the Bills were going to win with Cook, and they didn't need him in really at all. I mean, he had some receiving yards like Isaiah said, but he didn't have a monster day. And I think outside of Josh Allen, because I think he ran for 40 something yards. They didn't do that great on the ground. I mean, they got a couple rushing touchdowns, but total average yard per carry yards wasn't that great. It was just they just let Josh Allen sit back there and do whatever the hell he wanted. I really didn't think that's how Buffalo and their passing attack. I don't know most of these receivers. I didn't think that's how they'd win the game, but that's how they did it.
Yeah, Austin.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I knew Buffalo was going to put up some points. I had them to take I think 31, 33 points and end up beating the Jaguars. The biggest surprise to me was that the Jags just couldn't get anything going offensively. It was actually kind of hard to watch. So hard to watch, I stopped watching at halftime. I was like, this game's it's just no chance that these guys are coming back and winning. From a Titans perspective, there's not a lot of trash I could talk here. Honestly, I feel the pain there. I don't like watching a fellow AFC South team lose to the Bills. So that game kind of just sucked all around. I'm a Trevor Lawrence fan, really kind of pop off and show the league what he's made of, but it's going to be really hard to do behind that offensive line. That's all I really got to say. It was tough to watch.
Oh yeah. For all you, I'm gonna not use that word I wanted to use. For all you people out there, if I could even call you that, Jaguars fans specifically, when you say Trevor Lawrence isn't the answer and to put in Mac Jones, and then Mac Jones also gets sacked within 2 seconds of the play starting and fumbles the ball, maybe I know you're too stupid to realize that means that maybe Trevor isn't necessarily the problem. I'm not saying he's playing great. No one's saying that. But if they put in the backup who you claim is the savior to immediately get sacked and fumble the ball, maybe it's not the quarterback. I'll just leave it at that.
It's a valid point. Something Austin said reminded me. Here are our score predictions from last week. I said 24-19 Buffalo, Jeff 24-23 Buffalo, Isaiah 28-25 Jacksonville, and Austin 31-27 Jacksonville. So fun.
Shred those and throw them away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can guess the most unrealistic expectations for quarterbacks, but I can't guess if my team's going to win a game or not. It's great.
Yeah. No, I feel you. So did the criteria get met for the Malik Willis jersey?
It sure did. 202 passing yards,
Crazy.
and 1 touchdown through the air, 1 on the ground.
And the criteria for the Sam Darnold jersey?
Oh my god!
It was. All he said was that Sam Darnold and the Vikings had to win.
Yep.
And
Curtis, your boys just looked like they had never touched a football. So I appreciate the Texans coming in and just totally disappointing me the one time I'm rooting for.
They heard the bet and they were like, you know what?
Yeah. Sam Darnold really deserves that jersey buy. Shit, man. He's playing lights out. Maybe that jersey will be worth something soon. So I've got to take a look and see what the most cost effective way to get that jersey.
That's what I'm thinking about this Malik Willis jersey, man. Yeah. Jordan Love who?
I don't know how many times I said I've got a jersey guy, man.
That's true. He's got a jersey guy.
Let's just Titans just need to make a trade to get Malik Willis back whenever Jordan Love comes back, and they just give him Levis as the backup.
Clearly.
Oh man,
unreal.
They would know how to use him.
Any more Jags Buffalo Bills comments?
No, I'm done.
You sure? We can spend a really long time on this.
Like me in bed, there's not a long time to be had.
Damn.
I do want to say out of curiosity, and
no.
I'll get into this when I talk about the Titans. What's your record prediction at this point, right? 0-3. Where do you go from here? What do you think the Jags are going to end at?
7-10.
It's pretty optimistic. I'm a little more sour on my Titans. We'll get into that, but 7-10. With this kind of start, I wouldn't be too totally just mortified by that.
No, I mean I'd be happy with it. We're not going to get it, but I'd be happy with it. The worst part about this, there's some really solid O-line talent coming out in this draft, especially the tackle position, left tackle, the one we need the most. And we're somehow going to mess around and win enough games to put us outside of the top 10, even the top 15 potentially. And we're going to be right back at that like 15 to 17 pick again. And I'm going to be pissed off because if we're cleaning house like I think we should after this year, we might as well get a really good pick out of it. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, let's pivot to the second worst loss of the week. That would be Houston traveling up to Minnesota. A 34-7 loss where the Texans, as Austin so colorfully alluded to earlier, looked like they had never seen off football, let alone knew how to engage in the game within the rules and the confines of the stadium. They were lost. The way I describe it, because people know I'm a Texans fan at work, and when regulars come in, they're like, what the hell happened on Sunday? And I'm like, I think it's just every year, there's a game where maybe you think it's a gimme, or maybe you think it's not that big of a deal, and you go out there and you just shit the bed. It's a very common thing, happens to everybody.
Yeah, like the first 3 weeks for Jacksonville. Yeah. You know what they say? The first 3 weeks don't matter in football.
Well, and then Cody Stutes, who was on the Texans preview this week, was saying that there's 2 seasons every year, weeks 1 through 6, and then the rest of the year. Because basically until the conclusion of week 6, everybody's still trying to figure out what the hell they are. Some teams figure it out sooner than others. Some teams find ways to win, kind of like the Chiefs are, where it's not pretty. What we're anticipating their weapons to be are not being
to the refs.
Yeah, valid.
But Raheem Morris likes his money, so don't ask him questions about calls in the game, okay?
With all of that being said, the Houston Texans went up to Minnesota and absolutely got outclassed and outcoached in every facet of the way. It wasn't that there wasn't anything good about what the Texans were doing. It's just that every single opportunity there was to turn the tides of the game, the Texans were nowhere near in play for that. There was a pass where we finally had gotten some pretty good consistent pressure on Sam Darnold this one particular drive. One play, he decides to make a boneheaded throw. It's behind the running back by about 3 yards behind the line of scrimmage. So it's a fumble. The running back has time to run over, barely scoop it up, turn around, run 9 yards after the line of scrimmage, and get tackled for a 2nd and 1. Not only was there not a Texan within 10 yards of the ball on the ground, it took them getting off blocks to even get the guy down. We were just fundamentally not paying attention. First drive of the game, we have a great completion to Nico Collins that gets called back for a holding penalty, I believe on Titus Howard. Very next play, CJ is trying to throw it again to Nico Collins. One of the linemen gets their hands up, swats it, and ends up being a pick. And then the Vikings score 6 plays later from 21 yards out. Very next series, we're basically trying to move the ball, go for it at basically midfield, or try to kick a field goal. Kaimi misses, first miss of the year. Then they drive down, score another touchdown. By about 7 minutes in the game, it's 14-0, which I didn't have that on my bingo card. Later in the game, there is one drive where we get down to the 30-yard line. It is a 3rd and 4. We go up. Laramie Tunsil gets flagged for false start. 3rd and 9. Next, so we go up. Titus Howard, false start. Back him up 5. Now we're at 3rd and 14. Next play, illegal procedure. Back him up again, another 5. Next play, Laramie Tunsil, false start. Back him up another 5. Backing us all the way out of field goal range. Giving us a 3rd and 26. Or 3rd and 24. Sorry, math.
Option.
Yeah. So whenever we had even the smallest glimmer of hope, we're like, all right, we're starting to get things put together. CJ gets sacked. There'd be a false start, a holding call, something hugely inconvenient. Through 3 games, Laramie Tunsil has a total of 9 penalties. The entirety of last season, the number 1 most penalized player in the league was a former Jacksonville Jaguar turned Kansas City Chief, Juwan Taylor, at 20. In 17 games. Laramie is almost halfway there in 3. And this is one of the most
halfway there.
This is
Holding on a prayer.
It's never holding. It's not for Laramie. Titus more so holding illegal hands.
My bad. False start, real smooth.
That's right. 100%. He's good for 2 every game.
That was a false snap count. One hop this time. Yeah, my bad.
Yeah, you're good. The ADD's kicking in.
I wish I had it. I'm just retarded.
He's one of the top 3 left tackles in terms of, who's getting paid. Every time another left tackle gets a big money deal, he's the first person to respond to it with the eye emojis. Dude is all about his money.
Imagine getting paid that much and sucking.
Well, it's not that he's even necessarily sucking. It's just that he's not taking accountability for the fact that he had 4 penalties thrown on him, and 3 of those are a false start, and there I think actually was 1 holding penalty called on him. After the game, he's literally said, look, I'll take the blame for it because my name's getting called out there, but it's everybody. That's what his comment was. And I'm like, well, that's not exactly accountability there, bud. That's basically just being like, well, because you're hearing my name, I guess I'll say something, but
accountability is for chumps. Laramie Tunsil knows that.
Yeah. And then Titus Howard, for whatever reason, is just overly active on Twitter. Somebody said something along the lines of, I wish you played better. And he was like, I didn't allow anything, blah, blah, blah. Check my PFF grade. It's just like, is that what you're giving a shit about? Is your stupid grade? No, let alone the fact that you're literally hurting the team. That's
check
what
your PFF grade, bro.
It's not good. It's not.
Show me the PFF grade.
He and Shaq Mason have I think the 2 lowest PFF grades on our offensive line at the moment.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. At no point was I don't feel like most of this game was CJ Stroud's fault. He threw the 2 picks, but again, one was a deflection. The other one, his wide receiver fell down and the safety was just right there. I don't hold him accountable for those things. He was trying to, at certain points in the game, trying to shove the ball downfield, not push it downfield, shove that sumbitch. And nobody was getting open. Stephon Diggs had a great day, 10 catches, 90-plus yards. Nico didn't have much going for him until later in the game. Defense couldn't do shit. Justin Jefferson was running wide open most of the game. Second half, we held him without anything. Didn't catch 1 pass in the second half. all of his damage. Well, he might have caught one. I think he had 5 catches for like 70 yards in the first half and a touchdown, and then in the second half didn't do anything. So the defense was able to tweak things, but there's so much that was painfully obvious through weeks 1 and 2 that really became the focal point of this Vikings game. I know that there's got to be some interesting conversations being had in the Texans coaching offices right now, because the offensive line play and Bobby Slowick calling end rounds every other play, shit's just got to get more interesting, and we got to do something. We can't pay Titus Howard and Laramie Tunsil collectively. I think it's $47 million a season for the two of them to not do well. We paid Titus to be an above average tackle. He's not giving us above average play. We paid Laramie to be a top 3. He's given us maybe top 10. A little bit of a drop off. But with that, I'll open it up to you guys. What do you guys think?
I think I was right.
Okay. Good start. Keep going.
Sam Darnold is a dog.
He's got something in him, I'll tell you that.
And I'm, you also were like, oh, what is he seeing ghosts out there? Nah, bro, he's seeing touchdowns. He's seeing jets. Jay Jetta.
Yeah. I mean, he literally threw, I think his last touchdown pass was in triple coverage.
Yeah.
And
he's a GOAT.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sam Darnold is currently an MVP candidate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and probably comeback player of the year too.
Yeah.
Here are our predictions from that game.
I don't know how it got there, but yeah.
It's there.
I predicted the Texans would win 21-13. Jeff said Texans win 28-25. The other team in Texas lost that way, but Isaiah 21-20 Minnesota, and then Austin 26-20 Houston.
You know what's funny? I actually changed my pick. I get the last minute yesterday or Sunday. I changed that pick. I was like, man, I think the Vikings will win, so I flipped it over in our Yahoo league.
There you go.
Made the right decision.
Cheater. Anyway, so carry on, Isaiah.
Oh no, I'm just that's all. I that was one of my good predictions. I'll get to the other one later. But yeah, Sam Darnold had a day, 4 touchdowns. Didn't he leave the game hurt and came back and threw another touchdown? Am I mistaken?
I think you're right.
Yeah, so he got hurt, came back, limped out there, standing up on his third leg, throwing one into triple coverage, and
it's a stretch.
He
he got rolled up on and was out for 3 plays and came back. He was literally
he's propping himself up on his third leg, playing like a goon out there.
Like a kickstand.
I know, dude. Like a kickstand is that extra balance, a little leverage.
11 total penalties on Houston for the night. 4 of them were on Laramie Tunsil.
Yeah, 4 total touchdowns from Sam Darnold. What a crazy world we're living in.
Correlation, maybe.
Oh man, I'll hop in here unless Isaiah, did you have anything else?
No, I'm done. No, that's it.
All right, you're done talking about Sam Darnold's third leg.
MVP.
All right. No, I think Curtis. I think you hit the nail on the head. This was a kind of a gimme, I think, in the Texans' minds. It was in my mind. I would have thought that was a gimme. Nobody anticipated Sam Darnold just going ballistic. Continuing that, a lot of people were picking them to be. Yeah. Okay. All right, Isaiah.
I did.
You guys are crazy. A lot of people assumed that the 2-0 Minnesota Vikings were kind of frauds. They were on fraud alert. I can't say that they still look that way. Sam Darnold might be the real deal. Certainly the coaching is the real deal. They're getting him really good looks on his receivers, and Jay Jettas is just unbelievable. He is who he is. You could have me throwing to Justin Jefferson and he'd score, 3 touchdowns a game. It'd be insane. So I think the Texans just took this one off. They were like, yeah, we're just going to play our game. It seemed like they did not expect to get punched in the mouth the way they did, and they didn't really recover. Yeah.
No, I mean, at several times, the first sack of the game was John Grenard, former Texan. And Do you know who he beat? It's not any offensive lineman. We had a rookie tight end tasked with blocking it.
Oh, that boy, Stover.
Yup. And he just got welcomed to the NFL. And then NFL, and then Stroud was just like, ow, that hurt. And here we are. But Grenard had 3 sacks. The rest of the defense, I think, had another 4. It was a rough outing. Anybody else?
Yeah, the Texans couldn't run the ball for anything.
No, they didn't try.
That's true. They only had what?
Cam Akers had
total?
nine carries.
Yeah,
and he didn't have his first one until the second half.
That's stupid. I'd make the argument that Stephon Diggs is probably the best player for the team in this game.
Yeah.
I mean, he even had 100% completion. I'm just saying.
It's true. Yeah, he was playing really well against his former team.
Yeah, probably not the way he wanted this game to go.
No. I think we can comfortably say that. You got anything else?
No.
Okay. Let's pivot to the Green Bay Packers visiting the Titans. But before you get off in your thing over there, Austin, the score predictions were as follows. I said Green Bay wins 14-10. Jeff said 17-13 Green Bay. Isaiah, the closest.
Oh.
No, actually, you both. Oh, no. No. Isaiah says 28-13 Green Bay. Austin says 28-13 Tennessee.
What was the score?
30-14.
Oh,
Price is right. Baby.
So close.
You Price is right. You're the closest one. You win.
I know, but I don't get anything out of that.
That's true. Austin?
Malik Willis is a dog.
He's a dog.
Malik Willis is a dog. God, there's so many things that went wrong in this game. I'll start with the coaching. We know what the issue is on our offense, and so we it's almost like we're just hoping it works itself out. The first play of the game I thought was called really well. It was a rollout for Will Levis. He rolled it out. He moved the pocket. He got himself some space so he wasn't immediately jumped by a bunch of defensive linemen. It was great. I was like, sweet. They've edited some of the play calling here. And then they just totally did not stick to that whatsoever. They just kept asking Will to hang in the pocket, surrounded by just dudes wearing Titans jerseys. That's all I can call the offensive line. They're guys out there wearing Titans jerseys. Nicholas Petit-Fier, worst lineman, I think, in the league. I'm curious what PFF says about that, but he's awful. Has no drive, no competitive spirit. There was one play. It was pathetic. That's the word that I'll use here. He slipped and fell and just got like the defensive back just blew through there and laid Levis out. And it was just so pathetic. He just was NPF just kind of helped himself up and sort of trotted over. And I was like, dude, get this guy out of the game. This man does not want to be there. He doesn't want to play football. Like he has no. You look at him on the sideline when he got pulled. Thank God we benched him. Unfortunately, the backup was also trash. But he was just over the sideline, just had like this blank stare. Didn't look mad at himself. Didn't look pleased. Just he doesn't want to play football. That is not a man that wants to be doing this for a professional job. He wants to be a fantasy draft expert. And so I say he goes and does that. NPF, worst lineman in the league. The coaching was not great. Malik Willis, the game plan for Green Bay is that Malik Willis is going to throw short, easy passes, and he's going to run the ball a lot. And that's exactly what he did. There was no game plan. I don't know what our defensive – I really don't even know what our scheme was because there was no effort to stop him. There was no linebacker spying on Malik Willis. Anytime he tucked that ball and ran, he just did whatever he wanted. It was so tough to watch. I was like, guys, I knew that was going to happen. I could have told you. I probably predicted it last week that Malik Willis was going to tuck that ball and run all over us. So put a spy on him. Do anything to keep him contained. But there was nothing done to contain Malik Willis. It was so hard to watch. Levis got sacked 8 times. That's miserable. Like, you're not going to win a game if your QB's getting sacked 8 times. It's not going to happen. Despite that, quick bright spot. I know everybody dogs on Levis. I don't think he's the problem. I think he deserves at least another year under this system. He threw for 260 yards. I'm going to pull this up. Got sacked 8 times, but threw for 260 yards, had a 74% completion rating, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Both those interceptions, they didn't look great. You didn't speak highly of his ability, but for a 74% completion rate and a 260-yard day after getting sacked 8 times, I thought that was fine. He had a lot of really pretty balls, fit the ball into some tight windows. I said what I said there, Isaiah. I said what I said. He threw some really nice balls out there, dude. Bright spot there. Will Levis isn't the problem. I'll continue telling Titans fans that. It's this offensive line. Will can make the throws. He's got the arm. He's got the talent. He's got the competitive spirit that I just pray the rest of the team inherits at some point in their career. And so ultimately, there's slight red flags for this coaching staff. They're 3 games in. I'm not, saying fire them now. They're slight red flags. How did you not know Malik Willis was going to tuck that ball and run all over us plenty of times? D-Hop looked great. D-Hop looked awesome. Caught a touchdown at the goal line, then fought his way to get it over. Showed some competitive drive. Thank God. It was just him and Will Levis out there just showing that they wanted to win that football game. D-Hop looked good. Burks still sucks. That's who we traded A.J. Brown away for, and Burks blows. Get him out of there. So those are my thoughts. Not a whole lot of positives, just really bad offensive line play. That's the story. That's where we lost it.
So I'm going to ask you the same question I asked you on Titans takeaways. Would you prefer Dennis Daly, and I'm going to add another name in here, Dennis Daly, Andre Dillard, or NPF?
Dillard is my go-to on that one. On the Titans takeaways, you just said Dennis Daly.
I did.
Or NPF. I said Dennis Daly. But you throw Dillard in there. I think Dillard is the one I would take over all 3 of those. Look, whoever it is, I'm still going to be cursing their name every Sunday. It didn't matter. But it would be just the slightest of upgrades. Maybe one less sack a game by throwing Dillard in there.
Maybe one.
Maybe.
Yeah, it's pretty abysmal. Look, I agree that I don't think it's 100% Will Levis's fault. This was the first game this season that he didn't play the most ridiculous amount of hero ball.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't literally try to underhand toss it to somebody 12 yards away. Big step in the right direction.
Mm-hmm.
He did play the, my team needs points fast as hell hero ball, where he's just trying to hum it downfield and hope somebody can make a play.
Yeah.
Which is a lot more tolerable in my opinion. That's why people still, prior to the whole scandal, that's why people liked Brett Favre for his play. It wasn't because he wasn't going to throw any picks. The dude always threw an interception. But he was also going to do some crazy shit for touchdowns. I think Will Levis does have a little bit of that Favre in him. Hopefully it's not the embezzling money part, but allegedly. It's not been proven.
He just came out. What happened?
He got Parkinson's.
Hopefully Will Levis doesn't have that either.
Yeah, that would also not be good. Not be good.
No, it's not.
Yeah. Beyond that, I mean, the offensive line is kind of what I thought it was going to be. The left side being young, they're going to have their issues, but very clearly the bright spot. The right side wasn't addressed at all. I don't know why they thought, MPF, who wasn't doing great last year in his sample size, was going to be better now, but I don't know. There was a lot of hype here in Nashville about the offensive line coach being brought in, Bill Callahan. They literally nicknamed him Offensive Line Jesus. And then this is the performances that the Titans have been trotting out there. So if the guy is nicknamed Offensive Line Jesus and the offensive line is doing that, maybe the offensive line sucks or maybe he can't do his job. But the track record he has looks a lot better than the track record of several of these Titans contributors, Radens and MPF and Brunskill to several degrees. So I'm willing to bet it's just that the pieces are not there, and with time they'll be able to find it. But I don't think that's this season. I think the Titans, realistically, if things don't turn around pretty soon, Mason Rudolph will find himself under center.
I hope not. I think that'd be the worst decision to make. I really do. Yeah, and I agree with you. I think we're looking at probably a 4-13 season at this point. My original prediction, as much as I'm embarrassed to admit this, 10-7. We did nickname him offensive line Jesus. I was like, he's going to turn these boys into some dogs up there. No, dude, you can't coach drive and competitive spirit and intelligence, I guess. I don't know if it's an intelligence. I really don't know what the issue is. They just cannot perform, and you can't coach that. So I think we're looking at a 4-13 season, probably a top 10 pick there that will be used on the right side of the line. If we use it on a quarterback, I'll throw myself out the window. I swear to God. Dude, I like
a little extreme.
No, dude,
No,
it's not. And Isaiah, you feel my pain.
No, I feel you right now, brother.
I've spent so much money and so much of my time watching these Titans, dude, and I'll continue doing so. I swear, we could not win a game this season. I'll watch all 4 quarters and beat my head and drink a bunch of bourbon afterwards. It's fine. I love my Titans. But if we continue making the same mistakes, we're just not going to change and be a better organization. And so if we waste our top 10 pick on a QB, I'm serious. You'll hear about it from me. But my prediction right now, 4-13, baby. Come on, bring it on. Bring on that top 10 pick.
Jesus. Jeff, you got any Titans comments?
Yeah, I think they rushed the ball like a total of 11 times. And, first quarter, they were only down by 10. It's a 2-possession game. Their offensive line isn't great, but I still don't think that justifies a total, and I think a couple of those were Will Levis scrambles too. They weren't designed runs, but
yeah,
we'll count it. 11 runs. Yeah. I mean, that's a bad formula.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's been the Titans' bread and butter. I mean, they don't have Henry, obviously, who they just had to watch, over in Baltimore, just shred. Yeah. Got to be a little bitter about that one.
What do you have, 165? Didn't he have a big game?
Oh, he had
150 and 2 touchdowns.
150 and 2 touchdowns.
Just
that's what it was.
Absolutely insane.
But that's always been the Titans' bread and butter. He was running behind, kind of the same line, and he was making shit happen. So it's like you would think that Pollard, I mean, he's not Derrick Henry, but he wasn't bad either. 6 carries just in a game that wasn't never really out of reach, even though it kind of felt that way. I'd like to hear their justification for 6 carries for Pollard.
Yeah.
I agree with you. And that goes back to the coaching. I really, when games are tight, when they're close, you can usually put the blame on a loss on the players, just not executing 1 or 2 plays properly or a few more. But when it's a blowout like that, now the coaches have a lot of questions to answer. And so I completely agree with you. The lack of really utilizing the run, or at least trying to get it going, was really disheartening and odd. It's like totally getting away from our identity. It made no sense to me. So great point there.
Isaiah, do you have anything?
Just the fact that I know football. That's it. No, I mean, honestly, in this game, of course, I did not, the confidence was there. I thought Malik Willis was going to have a good game, not because I think that he's a great football player or anything, just because it's always there's always a weird one where a player plays their old team when they really shouldn't be playing and just something bad happens, I think he looked good. And like I had mentioned the previous week, or I guess technically in the preview, I think that something that they can afford to do in Green Bay that the the Titans cannot, that's helped Malik Willis, is allow him to only throw, 12 to 15 to 20 times a game behind an O-line that can actually keep him protected relatively. And he built that confidence. So coming into Tennessee, he had a lot of confidence built up. That's his old team that drafted him and then drafted another guy and got rid of him a year later, basically. There was a lot building up for that. And I don't feel the confidence in the Titans coaching staff as of right now. I think something in a trend that we're seeing, and it could work out. And I hope it does. I like a competitive division. A trend we're seeing is trying to get these young up and coming offensive coordinators and passing game coordinators. And trying to force them to be what they were, where they came from, even though they had a lot of help from somebody else too. And the defensive, who's the defensive coordinator?
Oh my God! I've blanked on him. Help me out. Bernard.
Denard Wilson.
Denard. Thank you.
Yeah, I have no clue who that is.
He was the DB coach for the Ravens last season. and he was. the
Oh,
D-
that guy. Yeah. Okay, I know who that is actually. Yeah, I wasn't really high on him coming over. Because he was one of the guys that Jacksonville was potentially looking at. I mean, up going with Nielsen. That didn't really work out for us that great either. But we're not talking about Jaguars right now. I don't know, man. Whenever you put those two teams up, I just don't believe in Tennessee's secondary. I think they made some good moves in the offseason, but Malik Willis, Green Bay Packers giving him time to throw, him getting out of the pocket, no spies, no nothing, and then having time against that secondary, there's bound to be busts and coverage and different stuff for him to take advantage of. I think he was like 2 for 3 for 60 yards or like 40 yards or something like that to start the game.
First drive.
Yeah, first drive. He had 78 rushing yards on like 10 or 12 carries and a touchdown. It wasn't that I had all the confidence in the world. Clearly, I put a jersey on it, so I had some sort of confidence. But I kind of did the bet backwards. Like I should have been like, oh, if he doesn't throw for well, whatever. But I just kind of saw it coming. We got to see, man. It's a young coaching staff. I'm not gonna jump on the. I don't think they're gonna bench Levis. That would be the dumbest decision they could make. You let him get his reps, unless he's just getting absolutely murked back there, and you're down in a big game, kind of like we did with Trevor last week. You leave him on the field, you let him throw, and you see what you got. But yeah, I hope they don't waste another top pick on a quarterback whenever that's not the problem.
Agreed.
All right. Before I kick it over here to Jeff and before I give the score predictions, I feel like it's only right that we let the losers of the week give you an opportunity to talk about some bright sides, okay? For me, and I think this applies to everybody, it's only week 3. A lot of shit can be corrected.
Nope.
Nope, burn it down. A lot of things can be fixed. A lot of things can be tweaked. Alignments can, like starting lineups, can be shifted. We don't know what any of these teams are going to look like when it comes down to the final stretch of the season. So for me, that's the bright side of, at least the Titans and the Jags are 0-3 right now, and I believe they're the only 2 0-3 teams left.
Yeah, Panthers got a dub.
Yeah. So the two teams at the very bottom of the league are here in this division. So, Jeff, that's got to feel good for you.
They are one of them.
Yeah. But realistically, though, let me hear from the losers. What? Give me one player who you thought at least had a glimmer of a bright spot.
Brian Thomas Jr.
Okay.
We actually targeted him more than like 3 times this game, which I liked, but not enough, clearly, because we still didn't have that many yards. And, but I mean, I think he's a good player. I think he's going to have a good rookie season. I don't think he's going to have a rookie of the year campaign or anything, because we just don't have the protection to allow Trevor to get the ball vertical to him a bunch. But he's been a bright spot so far.
Okay. Austin, do you have one?
Yeah, and I'm only going to bring him up again just because of how dogged on he's getting right now. But Will Levis he showed a lot of growth in this game. No hero ball. He took care of it. There were several times where he just was getting – well, obviously there were several times that he was getting blown up in the backfield. Didn't try to do anything crazy. Took that ball through 74% completion rate. That was my biggest gripe about him last year. 2 touchdowns, 260 yards on a day where you're getting sacked 8 times. And on a week where your phone number got leaked and you're getting blown up by angry Titans fans and some trolls, probably from the Jags Nation. But,
I didn't even know his phone got leaked. That's the first time hearing about it. I wish I would have known, though.
Yeah, I know. And thank God you didn't hear about it.
Now I'm sad.
Yeah, you missed a real opportunity there. But I'll point out Will Levis just because I do think he can be a quarterback of the future for us. I'm bought in on Will Levis. And if we could just protect him, I think he's going to be able to lead us to some good games there, to some W's. So I'll bring him up, and obviously D-Hop had a great game. I know you said just one, but D-Hop I think you really got to point out because he's been injured. D-Hop, 6 catches, 73 yards, 1 touchdown, and that touchdown was kind of a fight to the goal line there. So good on you, D-Hop. Glad to have you back.
Okay.
Now let me just real quick
Go ahead.
For the hero ball comment. He definitely tried to play hero ball on one play in particular, but he didn't fumble.
You got
So
Orlovsky.
I'm gonna give it to you. But whenever he tried to hurdle that one dude and got destroyed on that play, I props to Levis for holding on to that football. That had to have been tough.
Yeah.
But that one was hard to watch.
Yeah.
Is that the one where he basically got like tabletoped almost?
Yeah,
or
he
something?
like tried to jump over one dude, got hit like high low, but because he hurdled, it doesn't count. Yeah.
Nice.
But hey, props to him for holding on to that football. I know that had to be hard.
Yeah. I mean, he was getting lit up, and he held onto the football several times. So I was impressed with his ability to kind of tuck it and just eat the sack.
Bright spot for me would probably be Stephon Diggs. By far his best game as a Texan, comes against his former team. He'll have another opportunity to play against a former team later in the year. So I'm excited to see about that. But Stephon Diggs for week 3 is the bright spot. Beyond that, I mean, there are already, there's, for some reason, I see the memes already of like, other fan bases being like, CJ Stroud's not playing good. How many games until Davis Mills starts? I'm like, all right, guys. Like, haha. Like, ha ha ha.
Very funny.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah. It's not happening. Unless he's not able to go, in which case it will be Davis. And, we'll see how that goes. But, yeah, Stephon. Score predictions for the Colts-Bears game were as follows. I said 17-16 Chicago. Jeff said 24-20 Indianapolis. Isaiah 17-9 Chicago. Austin 27-24 Indianapolis. Jeffrey?
Did Caleb Williams throw his first touchdown this game?
He threw 2 touchdowns this game.
Culture trash.
No, the secondary is beat to hell.
Yeah. He
yeah,
also threw for like 300 and something yards, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Carry on.
He did throw 2 picks though, so
That's
I'll take it. I'm not gonna like they took the lead. They never looked back. They never let it up again. It was 5 points at the end of the day, but they never lost the lead. So I'm happy about that. Anthony Richardson still didn't have. He didn't have a good day, and 50% completion again. I think on the year he's completing 47, 48%. I'm just gonna get the negatives out of the way, and most of it is him. He started off against Houston. He had, it was a solid day. Completion percentage wise, not so much, but he had some really big plays, and then he's just kind of regressed every game this year. And I think he described it as being antsy, because there was a play in the flat to Josh Downs. I mean, middle schoolers are making this toss, and he airmailed it to another planet. He had a bad interception. He almost had another one to Adonai Mitchell, where it looked like he second guessed the throw, and then instead of putting doing the rocket pass like he's been doing, he put that touch on it, allowed the DB to get it there, and almost threw a pick. And then there was an interception in the red zone. I think it was like on the 5 or something like that. There were 3 guys covering. He had 2 guys in his face. The pass looked awful. It was a bad decision, but when you look at the play, it was tipped by the defender in his face. So, it came out like a duck. It looked like a really bad throw. It was just a really bad decision. That's a throw you throw out of the back of the end zone, you eat the sack. So he's just got a lot of just getting back to basics, fundamentals that he needs, that they like. If they're not working on it in practice, I don't know what they're doing with him. Like, these are just very basic things that you should be doing. Some throws that you should be hitting. He had some really good throws too. They had a couple of drops again. They're one of the worst teams in the league in drops. So, they got to help out their quarterback too. When he is getting it to you, got to catch it. I mean, it's not happening all that often. So when the ball does get there, you got to catch it. But I'm going to flip to the positive. Jonathan Taylor, he had a day, 110 yards on 23 carries, 2 touchdowns. Obviously, the bright spot of this game. Receiving wise, there wasn't a whole lot going on. Alec Pierce had a really big play down the sideline, another 44 yards for him, but just 1 reception. 10 catches, there's not a whole lot going on. So defensively, they played a great game. And with with Buckner out, I was trying to figure out how they got so much pressure on Caleb Williams, because that's something that they haven't been doing. And I will tip my hat to Gus Bradley. He definitely put some more guys to bring in, against the run, especially with Buckner out. He knew he needed to. And I saw speed coming in. I saw Kenny Moore, I think, came in for a sack. Like they were bringing a bunch of different pressure. So I will tip my hat to Gus Bradley. He definitely adjusted for this game, knowing that they were going to run, and it worked. I think the Bears ran for a grand total of like 62 yards or something like that. And, their best running back averaged 3.8 yards per carry. So that's a really good job by a front that didn't have Buckner. It was really good. I think they had 4 or 5 sacks on Caleb Williams. Latu finally got in the stat column. He's made his impact in some games, but he had a really key sack fumble at the end, close to the end of the game. So I'm happy for him. You can see him working hard in the offseason. It's, a lot of times they've been double teaming him, so he hasn't really been an impact. The last 2 teams that they played, they ran all over the Colts. So it was nice. It was nice to see him in that stat column. They did exactly what they needed to do on defense. They forced Caleb Williams to pass, and they made him pass 52 times. So yeah, their secondary was shit. They let up yards, but they didn't let up points. If this defense with that bad a secondary can hold a team under 20, I'd say that's a win. That's giving your offense a chance to take it. And like I said, Colts another slow start. There was a lot of mistakes, but the defense played well enough to win. There's still a lot to work on, but I'm really excited they got the win. And yeah, I mean there's at least something positive to build off of now going into week 4. So got a little, and it'll be okay, Bears fans. I got a nice little message for you here.
I'm already there. Take a look around.
I gotta do that to the Bears. They're so terrible. But yeah. Oh man, there was one play. I think it was Swift. It was, it looked like they're about to score. They do I think it was 4th and 1 on like 4th and goal on the 2 or 3 or something like that. Swift lost 8 yards on the play. And in the picture, you can see, unfortunately, I forgot to put it up, but you can see the entire Bears offensive line is laying down. There's one player like on his knees falling down, and there's just 6 Colts players running at Swift. Like, holy shit. And I couldn't figure out why the Colts were doing so well on that defensive line with Buckner out. And then I learned that Matt, the human traffic cone Pryor, was starting for the Chicago Bears. I'm like, oh, it's going to be a good day. Yeah,
Yep.
he was awful in Indy, and man, the Bears have him, and now he's their problem.
What was he starting at?
He was starting on their line. I don't remember where. I think they had an injury, so Matt Pryor was starting, and he sucks.
Yeah.
So
He's
I heard that.
Dennis Daly.
Yeah, I was going to ask that earlier, but I didn't want to give up my joke. Like, who would you rather have, him or Matt Pryor?
Yeah.
Yep. No one's sport.
That Bears offense is anemic. The passing offense, they definitely have all the weapons you could possibly ask for. I know Cole Kmet had himself a pretty solid day. Best he's looked this season by far. I think it's the first time he's had more than like 3 targets all season. So
wow,
that's through 3 games.
Far in.
I realized that as I said that, through 3 games. I don't know. Can you just imagine being the team that lost to the Bears?
No,
especially if there was some sort of like underhanded flick for 30 attempted yards for a flick 6, as you would call it.
Flick 6.
I said that if the Colts lost, Anthony Richardson wasn't that bad. No,
he just completely left.
I think he might come back, but I think
he rage quit.
That was good. That was good.
That was a good one.
My computer there. Yeah, being the only team to lose to the Bears sucks, man. It sucks.
Hey, don't worry. You won't be the only one for long. We play him in a couple. Actually, we play him in London. We're probably fine.
I couldn't imagine losing to a Malik Willis Packers and then the Bears.
All right. He's already dead. Quit.
0-3 is tough, man.
It was awful. I don't wish this pain on anybody, man.
But you
I'm
guys
glad
do
I'm
have
not
the,
feeling it.
you do have the shared pain of both losing to the Malik Wallace Packers.
Yeah. Didn't lose to the Bears. The Bears might be the worst team in the league.
I mean,
They can't be the worst
like
in the league.
I'm saying there's talent on teams that make them better than the Bears. They just they're 0-3.
I mean, yeah, I suppose. But I digress. I don't see a very bright season ahead of the Colts if Anthony Richardson cannot figure some shit out. I don't think the answer to, oh shit, I just overthrew this guy is I'm going to put touch on this when it's in high traffic areas. The answer to that is I'm going to hit my target. There's obviously you could in theory control it more if you're not putting so much zip on that sumbitch.
Yeah.
But if that's the case, maybe go visit. Is there a baseball team in Indiana? Is that a thing? If not, just go visit the Guardians and
I'm a Cubs
learn
fan, so
how to throw the ball, not wildly. Beyond that, he's a
I'm gonna have to
physical.
stop you right there, Chief. I throw a football a lot more accurately than I throw a baseball, my friend. That's a very different throwing style / motion.
Yes.
Now sliding, they can teach him how to slide. That is something he needs to learn.
Well, he
Agreed.
hasn't done a lot of running. They've kept him. It's like they're trying to make him a pocket passer, and clearly,
Man, they're trying to keep
please
me
stop
in the
doing
pocket.
that.
I just want to run. Let me run, coach.
Well, I think that this team, they'd be best served getting back to smash mouth football. Just run the ball. I mean, you got Jonathan Taylor, you got Trey Sermon, two very different kind of backs. And I said this in the Unstable recording yesterday that he's not Derrick Henry, but he's that style runner. I mean, he's a downhill runner. He's a big guy. He's a physical guy. Jonathan Taylor is more your shifty guy. I mean, you could have a great 1-2 punch here. Just take some of that off of Anthony Richardson. Like, have him throw 10, 15 times a game and just run the ball. I mean, this line is good enough to do it. You've got the backs to do it. You could do a lot of stuff with Adonai Mitchell in the backfield. You see, play, Debo plays like that where they'll run the end around, they'll do stuff like that.
Jet sweep.
Any of that. Yeah, jet sweep. Thank you, Jesus. they'll do a lot of that, and the Colts just aren't doing it. So I think with Jonathan Taylor, Anthony Richardson, they're all on the field, and then you could run something like a jet sweep. They're just not doing it. And Adonai Mitchell's got speed. Josh Downs. They've got Alec Pierce. I mean, they've got fast guys that could do these things.
Mitchell has speed. Josh Downs has downs. It's just a match made in heaven.
So, yeah, I think they just need to get back to the basics and be more of a run-first team. Like, stop trying to make Anthony Richardson be the hero and just have him be that good supporting cast. I think is what they need to do going forward.
Yeah. Austin, do you have any Colts commentary?
I don't. That's they won. I'm sour about it. That's really where that ends. And I'm curious because there seems to be a trend of kind of forcing QBs to be pocket passers. If we want to talk about this after the segment, but do we think that like the Patrick Mahomes, in the same way that Curry kind of changed the NBA to make everybody more shooting, do we think Patrick Mahomes has kind of changed what NFL coaches and GMs are expecting their QBs to do?
I don't think so. And the only reason I say that is because while Patrick Mahomes is very capable of going out on the run and making miraculous plays, I think predominantly his goal is to stay in the pocket.
Mm-hmm.
He is an athlete, but he's not a supreme athlete. I think the situation is, I think there are coaches who are like, just give me the best athlete all around that I can get at quarterback.
Shane's thinking.
Right. And then you have guys who are like, mobile quarterbacks don't win Super Bowls.
Mm-hmm.
As in terms of like, Lamar Jackson is going to struggle to get there, and he's on a really good team.
Yeah.
It's just the way that it works out. Not saying it can't be changed over time, but to this point, mobile quarterbacks usually don't find themselves in the biggest games when it matters.
Yeah.
Anybody
Jeff brought up that point about, them making Anthony Richardson throw the ball way too many times. And I feel like teams like San Francisco have it figured out with Brock Purdy, right? He's not the craziest athlete in the world. And they do just fine because they lean on, they really kind of spread out who gets the attention and who needs to carry the weight throughout a game. And it's something that I wish my Titans would do. We obviously neglected the run game last week. It seemed like we were just like, all right, Will, good luck. And it's just tough to do it that way. So just an interesting point I wanted to bring up there.
Val. All right. Gentlemen, you got anything else?
No,
It's just pain. Just a lot of pain.
felt that.
Victory week, baby. I'm happy.
Who's next up on the docket for everybody? Who's the week 4 opponent?
Miami are our best chance to win a game this season. Come on, baby. Come on. Skylar Thompson or whatever his name is. That's who's leading the
It's either
offense.
Skylar Thompson or Tim Boyle.
That's right. Yeah. Old Tim Boyle, just, never heard of him. But our best chance to win a game is coming up. So if we don't win this one, then get us that one pick, that number 1.
Okay. Jeff, who you playing?
Steelers. That'll be
Okay.
Justin Fields about to drop 250 yards on y'all.
I'm not taking any bets. I'm not taking any bets.
Jeff said, I can't afford a jersey right now.
I'm not taking any
bets.
I wouldn't doubt it, man. I mean, if Malik can throw, or Jesus Christ,
Caleb Williams.
Well, Malik did throw pretty good too. But yeah, Caleb Williams can go 360 on you. There's a good chance Fields can go 250.
Yeah.
I just hope that they bend, don't break kind of thing.
Yeah. Isaiah, obviously, we're playing each other this week. It's in Houston. We're going to be, for those who don't know, we're going to be appearing on each other's podcasts in the preview lead up to this game.
I will not pay anyone $65 and some pocket lint to hit lead pipe. I will not. This just in, a lemon 8 CJ Stroud. A lemon 8 CJ Stroud.
Yes. So be on the lookout for the team specific pods, that Real Texas Team podcast preview. That'll be coming out tomorrow. Third and Teal will be Thursday. Unstabled. Are you guys doing one tomorrow or Thursday, Jeff?
Probably Thursday.
Okay. And Austin, have you guys talked about when your next one is?
Not yet. I don't know if Denise is feeling any better. So I'll follow up with her here and confirm whether that's going to be tomorrow or Thursday.
Copy that. Well, folks, keep your eyes peeled and hit the notification bells on all of those. Go hit the like and subscribe on all of those. Trying to grow the channels and get in front of our particular niche audiences. While you're at it and feeling like clicking things, hit the like, subscribe button on this one. We've got...
It's not delivery. It's depression.
I don't know the feeling.
Yes, you do. You will.
I did the first 2 weeks. I don't know it now.
Jesus. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future content. Like 50 like goal on this episode. We're at 508 subscribers at the time of this recording. Like to see that number keep jumping. Yeah. Without any further ado, folks, be good people.
Fuck the Colts.